Hello everybody and welcome back to F1 23 with me, Dan, and the Razor Slothz team. We immediately get underway with trying to renew Jack Doohan's contract here, going for a medium risk. You can see his stats are looking fairly good over on the right hand side there as we've upgraded some of our facilities. And we'll immediately get on with progressing towards the Hungarian Grand Prix, which we haven't had on the channel for quite some time. Practice 1 already done and out the way then, and straight over to practice 2 to get as many of these points as we can. Actually failing there on the 75 one, and that is not good. And we'll have to progress over to practice 3 now and just try and pick up as many as possible. Probably trying to avoid as best we can having to go back for those 75 again, because it will take a long time to get them out of the practice session. You can see there an enormous amount of time. We're better off going for this brake upgrade, which we do get, and then we just about have enough time for this one as well, and we do pick it up in the end. So with practice session over to R&D, and we're going to extend our lead in the aerodynamic department by getting that drag reduction upgrade. And here are the stats so far with well, half the season gone. You can see Alpha Tauri, almost invisible there, are so far down. They're about 650 score. Everyone else well above 700 now. A very tightly knit field. The same suspects at the top as usual. Although Aston Martin, surprisingly, having the best car. You have got to wonder what would happen if you didn't have Alex Albon and Lance Stroll driving for them. Perhaps a Verstappen or a Hamilton maybe. They'd be right up there. We're still sitting 5th at the moment, in amongst the rest of the midfielders, and Haas, who again suffering from a driver issue. So then over to Hungary, and the rain has begun to fall, as you would expect. It seems to happen in most of the races that we've been doing so far on F1 23, much to my disappointment, and adds to the number of tracks that I have to try and learn in both the wet and the dry, with none of the assists on. Which is really driving me absolutely insane, if it must be said. But anyway, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell. We're halfway through this season, so there's still another 8 races to go before we can see some interesting driver changes and updates to the car liveries. Stay tuned for that in about 2 months' time. Onto the starting grid, then it's a surprise pole position there, taking advantage of the weather, getting to the pole position spot over Carlos Sainz. We're followed by Charles Leclerc and George Russell, Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez. Lewis Hamilton and Esteban Ocon, Lando Norris and Jack Doohan round at the top 10. They're followed by Alex Albon and Lance Stroll, Oscar Piastri and Théo Pourchaire. Behind them, Joe Guan Yu and Pierre Gasly, Kevin Magnussen and Nico Hülkenberg, Yuki Tsunoda and Valtteri Bottas, and finally Logan Sargent and Nick De Vries. And an impressive qualifying for us. As I say, the weather actually playing a key part of that in qualifying, drying out just at the right time, as it has done before. And unfortunately, the rain has come down again here for the race. So much like we've done in previous races, such as Imola, we'll have to try and hold up as much of the field as possible for as long as we can to try and maintain this position, and hopefully we pick up our first win of the season as well. Let's get underway. So then, as we get 5 red lights appearing on the screen, it's not too bad weather at the moment. We may see it dry out. We'll have to ask the race engineer a bit later in the race. But we're away and we're still ahead of the 2 Ferraris as we head down towards turn 1. They're flanking us on either side, with Sainz going up the inside there, trying to become the first one to get past us. But unfortunately for him, it has not happened as we continue around the Hungaroring, and Charles Leclerc takes away P2 from his teammate, running a little wide here as we try and learn the circuit in the wet. Which is not the easiest thing to do in the world. If you've had to do this before, we're trying to learn about the racing line, then comment down below. How did you get on with it? But we continue on. Jack Doohan already losing a position, jumped out of the points again, hoping to add to his tally of a number of points, possibly 0 still, by the end of this race. But we come and rejoin on lap 2, the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, having a look round the outside as we come down towards turn 1. We hold on for now. Leclerc and Sainz being careful not to come together there. Leclerc going defensive. We're taking a wider line through some of these corners than we'd like, but we'll tidy that up by later on in the race. And once again, coming around the final corner with the two Ferraris just behind us. A massive moment for us. They're sliding all over the place and then being caught up by the curb as well has allowed Charles Leclerc to get past us on the right-hand side. Carlos Sainz on our left-hand side. He currently holds the fastest lap, and it's on the brakes we go through turn one. So close to touch of the Ferrari there as we come through the first corner, and somehow our traction as we improve my skills with pulling out of these corners in the wet, just far superior to the Ferrari there. And that is as it stayed until lap 10, where we're here now. We've got the Ferraris still behind us and doing their best to try and get by. We got a yellow flag, actually some stopped cars on circuit, looking like an Aston Martin, and the safety car has been deployed, and our first red flag since the opening race of season 1, as we ride on board with Lance Stroll here, as slides out of the hairpin and is greeted by his teammate Alex Albon, and multiple cars smashing into the back of Jack Doohan, who loses his front wing as well. This is on board with Magnussen, I believe. Yeah, and there's no way you're going to stop your car over that curb and sausage curb. That is a one-way ticket to retirement. As with Gasly, an absolute passenger there as everybody tries to slow down. It was never going to happen. So away we go then for the first restart, I suppose. And we absolutely fly off the line here. I think everyone's using the medium tyre, I believe, as we come through. Yeah, we definitely are. And it's only about 12 laps to go. We're halfway through this race already, effectively. So the medium should just about get us to the end. Doohan has actually got back into the points and is currently sat behind Max Verstappen, who is continuing his run of absolutely horrible races throughout this season. Carlos Sainz having a look up the inside there. Didn't quite work out for him. As we come up towards the chicane, he's going to have another look up the inside. What can he do here? We close him off, nearly making contact with the Ferrari there, but it doesn't quite work out, and we maintain a position ahead of him. Charles Leclerc dropping back to P4, actually. Not good for Charles Leclerc as we ride on board with Carlos Sainz. I think we're going to see a move from George Russell here as we come down towards turn 1. Russell to the right-hand side, up the inside of Carlos Sainz. And through turn 1 they go. Sainz losing a position, now sits right ahead of his teammate. Once again, does not fight George Russell as they continue on through lap 2. Lap 2, lap 13, the second lap after the restart, I should say. Anyway, lap 17. Maintaining position ahead of George Russell. Seems to be working for now. Carlos Sainz dropping down to P7 as George Russell goes flying up the inside of us there. Completely catches me off guard there. And we actually got a warning for contact there. I'll be interested to see the onboards in just a second to verify what was going on there. And if you look to the bottom right of the screen, you can actually see that our engine or power unit is running out of wear on one of the components. We may see some smoke coming from the car by the end of the race. But we should be able to get a good run here on Russell. The DRS has been active for some time, as the restart was about 5 laps ago now. So it's a case of, will our drag and power unit be enough to get past the Mercedes? We're very quick in sector 3, fastest sector, and hard on the brakes we go up the inside. No, nearly made contact there with the wheel of George Russell. I think we may have clipped it slightly. That's gonna, yeah, we're even checking to see what the damage is. I think there is a very small damage to the front wing there, but it's not going to be enough to affect us too badly. And this is the onboard of Russell as we overtook him just now. He did actually have another look there and ran wide onto the marbles. That allowed Charles Leclerc to get through, so I was a little bit confused what we were seeing there. Not going to have a chance to see his overtake on us, unfortunately. But another overtake happening right now. Charles Leclerc looking to the inside at the start of lap 19. He's holding on, but even on the marbles, we're still finding the grip and just speeding away from the Ferrari. He's going to have a look on the brakes now. Mad Leclerc around the outside. He's still hanging on just about as we get the ERS deployed. Actually, a bit of a mad move going around that corner with the ERS deployed. I'm surprised it didn't spin the rear out, but we've managed to hold on again to a win. And on lap 20, Charles Leclerc still right behind us. Carlos Sainz has dropped all the way down to P10 there, actually giving Jack Doohan a chance of getting into the points for once. And this looks like a good a time as any for Charles Leclerc here as we run wide on entrance to the pit lane. We've got green flags waving, so presumably there's a yellow somewhere else on circuit. As Norris tumbles down the order, he seems to be retiring. And we ride on board now. Charles Leclerc, his proximity arrow lighting up the side of the screen. He's going to try the same move again, but isn't quite there. Or he is, maybe, as we get a bit of sliding happening at the rear. And a warning for collisions with the Ferrari. Russell dropped back to 5th. Must have picked up some damage earlier on with us, potentially. Lewis Hamilton up to P3. A resurgent Lewis Hamilton. As we follow, perhaps Hamilton will be able to pick up some points as we continue on this full lap of the Hungaroring. From the perspective of me, sticking quite close to the Ferrari, this is the sector that we're going to struggle with the most here. Especially as the tyres are starting to wear out a little bit now, being about 9 laps old. But Sector 3, which we're approaching here, is where we seem to be making up the most time as we come through this 90-degree right-hander and then these 2 hairpins, which in essence is where it counts. Because as we get onto the pit straight, we're going to need that DRS and to be as close to the back of the Ferrari as possible. Although it doesn't look at it, looking at the split time, we didn't lose much time at all going through that. Let's see what we can do here as we run down towards turn 1. Into the braking zone we go. Not close enough just yet, but we are really close out of turn 1. DRS is open and we are closing in on the Ferrari. Go to the inside here of turn 2. He hits us for no reason. We run him off towards the outside of the circuit in response to that, and he's taken a very poor line through there. That's not going to be good for him. Let's ride on board his overtake of us down the inside, and just too much steering there, I think, as we accidentally slide into him. No damage caused to either of us though, which is nice. This was Lando Norris retiring from the race just now when I mentioned the flag, as he gets hit by a car, and that's a Red Bull, and that is Max Verstappen losing a piece of his front wing. The season of absolute torture for Max Verstappen continues. We ride on board as he gets choked by a McLaren on fire, and then his front wing destroyed, as another race looks to become pointless for Max Verstappen, or at least be extremely low scoring. He's come into the pits. You can see he's all the way down in 19th. Everyone else behind him is out of the Grand Prix. And we enter lap 23. We've got a bit of a train forming up behind us with the constant fighting that we're having to do with Charles Leclerc, and Lewis Hamilton will be waiting for the right moment to strike. Jack Doohan, though, into the points as Charles Leclerc still tries to find a way past. He's going to look to the inside now. So close there between the two of us, but we're still ahead. With 3 laps to go, I think he's going to have another look here into the left-hander. It doesn't quite work. And somehow we are still leading this race. I think we've pretty much led every lap apart from the one a few laps ago. when Charles Leclerc got ahead of us. And as we come round onto the penultimate lap, Charles Leclerc nearly a second down on us, and he's under attack from Lewis Hamilton, a driver that loves the Hungary ring, and he's going to go up the inside of the Ferrari into turn 1, and I think he's going to get it. He does. Charles Leclerc drops back to P3 where he started the race, but the hope is beginning to die for the Ferrari, and this is Jack Doohan at the start of lap 24. And he has finally gotten himself into the points in the bright green Razor Slothz car. Up the inside of the Ferrari, which is suffering presumably from technical difficulties because there's no visual damage to the car. And Carlos Sainz immediately afterwards running wide at turn 2 and losing a place there to Lance Stroll and Oscar Piastri. Having as bad as a weekend as Max Verstappen's season has been so far. And we come round the final corner onto lap 25 of 25. Down the pit straight we go. This is Hamilton's arguably best chance to get past us as we power down the straight. Hamilton to the left-hand side. He's going to try it around the outside. Also, Perez making a move on Charles Leclerc as well. Don't forget, Russell and Albon are also part of this pack. If a mistake is made back there or damage is taken, then it could be an opportunity for any of those guys as we come through up towards the left-hander and towards the chicane. Hamilton using every bit of experience that he has to keep right with us. There are a few other opportunities, especially into the braking zones in Sector 3. And if he's cheeky enough, he might be able to put it up the inside into the final corner and get a better drive than we do. And you can see that the tyres are suffering as we run wide there, perhaps unfairly, but Lewis Hamilton's already dropping back, mindful of Charles Leclerc behind him, who is on a resurgence at the end of the race to try and get back into P2. But what will he do? 2 corners to go now, and we're still ahead. Hamilton still holding position in P2, and that is the result. The first win of the season will go to us as we round the final corner and get through the DRS detection zone, cross the line, and we immediately cut away to the celebrations in the garage. The first win of the season, the first win with no assists and in the wet, no less. An excellent achievement for the Slothz team, and of course for myself, having driven that race. It'll be a milestone not soon forgotten as we celebrate with the team, and onto the podium we go as we materialize a flag out of thin air and receive the first winning trophy of the 2024 season as we're in now. Spraying our team principal with alcohol, and also Charles Leclerc getting in on the action as well there as we conclude the race and get over to the final results. And here we are with the final results. Of course, we picked up the win. Not the fastest lap, though. That has gone to somebody else. Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc join us on the podium, followed by Sergio Perez, George Russell, Alex Albon, Esteban Ocon, Jack Doohan, Oscar Piastri, and Nico Hülkenberg. And over to the driver's standings. Look how close it is between the top 6 now. Lewis Hamilton leading the way from Sergio Perez and Charles Leclerc. George Russell, Radiant Slothz, Carlos Sainz, Alex Albon, Max Verstappen, Esteban Ocon and Lance Stroll making up the top 10. Further down the order, we have Pierre Gasly, Lando Norris, Kevin Magnussen, Oscar Piastri, Jack Doohan, Nico Hülkenberg, Valtteri Bottas, Yuki Tsunoda and Zhou Guanyu making up the final point scorers, followed by Logan Sargent, Théo Pourchaire and Nick De Vries. And over to the constructors, it's Mercedes at the top still, ahead of Ferrari, then followed by Red Bull. Just ahead of Aston Martin, we have Razor Slothz, just 15 points clear. Then a big jump back to Alpine, alone in 6th. Finally, McLaren, Haas, Alfa Romeo and AlphaTauri are the final point scorers, and Williams at the back. And that's all for this race. We'll catch you next time in Belgium.